Hello, this is Justin from TrekBikes.com reviewing the 3M 1080 series vinyl installation, providing tips and tricks, how well it works, and how it withstands the abuse of transporting on an open trailer and Trek day use. I'll preface this entire review with, if you're looking for perfection on your motorcycle, it's probably best left up to experienced professionals, especially if you'd like it to appear seamless. So why did I choose this path? Primarily I did it to save money. A 3-color vinyl job was less expensive than the 3-color paint job when I quoted all the prices. I suppose if you were going to slap some rattle can job on the fairings, it would probably be much less expensive and time consuming, but I was searching for some middle ground between a spray paint job and a professional job. Secondly, I thought it would be a good opportunity to attempt to pick up this skill or at least get an appreciation for why professional installers make the good money they do. If you've ever had a vinyl wrap quoted, it's not cheap. Vinyl was perfect to experiment with because it isn't permanent, so if I screwed up or I didn't like it, I could just peel the vinyl off. No harm, no foul. I was also able to do this in the kitchen with minimal mess. I didn't have to wait for a nice weather day to paint outside or wait for the paint to dry to put on multiple coats or colors. This entire process for a 4-piece set of race fairings took me, as a first timer, around 30 hours. It was for sure an entire Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's not wrapping the tank or the rear tire hugger as I'd originally planned. If you have a helper that can run the heat gun or help stretch vinyl for you in the workpiece, it may go faster and improve the quality. But for my 30 hours of work, I'd still say I ended up with a 10-10 job. It looks good at 10 feet riding by 10 miles an hour, but once you get closer and really scrutinize the install, the flaws, mainly bubbles, wrinkles, and intentional seams, are pretty visible. I went with the 3M 1080 series because of the name recognition of the 3M brand and because it appears to be what most professionals recommend for ease of use. Maybe I was duped by the marketing hype, but in the grand scheme, going for a lesser known cheaper brand would have only saved me $30, maybe even $40 over the entire project, which ran about $250 for all the vinyl and tools. I didn't buy any other brands of vinyl to compare, so your results and experience may vary. If you're still watching and want to give vinyl wrapping a shot for yourself, I'll give a quick summary to reiterate what I learned by watching a whole bunch of installation videos. Spend some time planning. You need to understand how much vinyl you're going to need to do the scheme you want, and if you plan on layering or making seams. Have a sharp knife or knives for cutting the vinyl. This is really important. Get a good heat gun. A good soft squeegee will help with the install. Be patient. Take your time for a nice job. Overlap any seams by at least 1/4 inch, preferably more. And then the rest is learning the application technique, heat gun techniques, and taking your time. I can't stress that enough. Be patient and take your time. In the planning phase, you'll need to figure out how much vinyl to order. I started by installing the blank bodywork on the bike and taking top, front, rear, left side, and right side photos. I brought the photos into GIMP or Photoshop or your favorite editing tool and began to brainstorm and mock up some liveries. Once you settle on the colors and scheme, decide if you want to go seamless or with seams, whether you plan on layering or not. You need to start measuring the fairings with your anticipated design in mind. A lot of those decisions also depend on the kind of vinyl and livery you decide on. Some colors, like the chrome or metallic vinyls, show seams worse than other colors because of their finish. Just be aware, those specialty vinyls also need more care to install to get the visual appeal you desire. My method was to loosely take a tape measure around the gas tank and fairings I planned on wrapping to get an approximate square footage for each piece, then added some additional square footage to ensure full coverage. The goal is not to get an exact measurement, but a general idea on the square footage you need to cover each piece. It's always better to have more vinyl than you need than not enough. You'll need extra to ensure the vinyl will fit around the compound curves and all the crevices of each fairing. Vinyl sells in various sizes, but a 60-inch roll is typical, so my goal was to fit my 3-color design into 60-inch sections of various lengths, typically multiples of 12 for each color. This turns it into one of those square puzzle problems where you combine odd cuts, triangles, rectangles, and trapezoids into a square area. I used Excel and made a sheet-like graph paper to lay it out. But actual graph paper, CAD, or even going back to your Photoshop program would also work. After it was all said and done and measured, I determined my particular design required 75 square foot of satin black, 20 square foot of hot rod red gloss, and 10 square foot of gloss sunflower. I ordered the vinyl, a few squeegees, and some knifeless tape from metrostyling.com. The heat gun, hobby knives, and terry cloths came from Harbor Freight, and I bought a couple of small bottles of rubbing alcohol from Walmart to clean my fairings prior to installing the vinyl. I happened to get lucky that some empty cologne sprayers happened to fit the top of the alcohol bottles, making it easy to spray the fairings to clean them. All these items, the vinyl, which is 105 square foot total, and tools ran about $250. For the trackbikes.com logo, I had a buddy with a vinyl cutter, so I gave him some of the extra yellow vinyl I had and an image of the text, and he cut them for me, no charge. Once you have all your materials and tools, set aside a weekend or a couple weekends to follow your plan and wrap your fairings. There are tons of installation tutorials out there for the exact techniques and tricks. A note on knifeless tape. It's a great tool for not cutting your paint when cutting vinyl, but it's another finesse skill to learn. I didn't have as much luck with the knifeless tape as it kept bunching up on me, but I think that was an error in my technique rather than the tape. When it did work as advertised, it was great, cutting a clean, crisp line exactly where I had marked. For my first time doing a vinyl install, it took about 30 hours and I didn't wrap the tank or rear hugger like I had planned, just the tail, upper, and lower fairings. Smaller pieces of vinyl are easier to work with so you don't leave bubbles, but will involve planing seams. Again, make sure you overlap seams at least a 1/4 inch if you go that route. I mistakenly cut some seams too close and they left some of the primered fairing exposed. I've been patching those small areas with black vinyl pinstriping material from the local auto parts store. If you try to wrap each piece without seams, go slow and be patient. Learn the finesse of stretching the vinyl using the heat gun and then squeegeeing the vinyl down over the curved surfaces. This will take some time. As far as how it's held up, it's done well. I've let it cure over the entire track day season without cleaning it, but it's been exposed to sun, heat, rain, and when I did wipe off the bug guts on the front fairing, it cleaned with some light scrubbing and soap and water, the same as paint, if not easier. I don't know how hard or difficult it will be to remove when the time comes, but if you believe the literature, it shouldn't be overly difficult. Given all I've learned about this process, would I wrap the bike again? I don't know. I think I would do okay if I were to wrap a car hood or some other relatively flat surface with a second set of hands helping me, but the compound curves and cutouts of motorcycle fairings raise the necessary skill level required. For fairings in the future, I may attempt painting. I'll save the vinyl work for the decals and logos only. For the same amount of hours, I think I could have achieved a decent quality paint job, though I may have had more than $250 wrapped up in quality painting tools if I chose to go the do-it-yourself route. You'll have to decide what's right for your application. One additional consideration if you plan on doing vinyl. If you have a GoPro or other action camera, mounting it on your vinyl with the adhesive mounts is likely a one-shot deal. You are basically putting tape on top of tape, so removal of the mount will be near impossible without messing up the vinyl underneath. So just keep that in mind. This was Justin at trackbikes.com reviewing the installation of the 3M 1080 series vinyl on track bike fairings. Please check out my other reviews and track day videos and leave any questions or comments below.